What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rundown. I'm your host, as always, Drew Johnson. For those that are watching live, make sure you guys are liking and subscribing to the channel. For those already, man, that's been showing love, we really appreciate it. If you're not already, follow us at the platform DR, and you can find myself at Real News 102. It's week 4. It's week 4, guys. We kick things off hot to start with 3 guests, and I've been rolling every week since. You know what I mean? So tonight, we'll have 3 more guests just to give you guys a preview. We'll have 2026 quarterback out of Mitchell High School, Cayden Thomas, to come on and talk to you guys. Been following this kid since the offseason, man. Really lit it up in the offseason. I'm just glad to see him getting it done on Friday night. So we'll have him come on and talk some ball and more. We'll transition to my guy, Hasani Harper, a good friend of mine. Has been doing recruiting for a while now. One of the main voices of Polk County. Just have him come on, share his backstory a little bit, and talk some recruiting in Polk County ball for you guys. And if you've been tuned in, as you know, I wrap things up with my OGs, man. So I'll have my OG come on and wrap up. That's Larry Blustein. If you don't know Larry, man, something's wrong. You might be on the rock or whatever, but I don't know. But we'll have Larry come on and talk some South Florida ball. Some things been happening in South Florida, so we'll have him talk about it and just all over the state. So make sure you guys stay tapped in for Larry. But let's go, man. We're going to jump right into it. I got a guest waiting for you guys. As I said, I've been following on since the offseason. Got it in with Trinity Elite, right? One of the more cool, calm, and composed kids. Very accurate quarterback, but has had a chance to show off his dual threat abilities too on Friday night. So just glad to have him on to talk some ball. Welcome to the show, everybody. Cayden Thomas. What's up, my boy? What's good?
What's up?
How you feeling, bro? So, all right, man, we got to start things off right. So you're a new guest to the show. And as we do, we got to give the people the rundown, right? We got to give the people the rundown on your backstory. So let's talk about it, man. How's you get into football, bro? And, what's some of the things you've done along the way to kind of get you to this point in your high school career?
Yeah, so I started playing football when I was like 5 years old. Yeah. And I didn't really want to play it. I was like a soccer, flag football type of guy. But then, when I got more into it, then I started really liking it and falling in love with the game.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about it, man. Like I said, I got my eyes on you in the off season. Kind of watch you dominate the 7v7, space and period with Trinity Elite. But let's talk about it, man. What's some of the things you've done in the off season? How was that 7v7 period and some of the training you got in with CJ Bennett and the stable over there with those guys? What's all those things in a package? What have they done to kind of help your game early on this year?
Yeah, definitely Coach CJ in the stable and Coach Chip. They've been helping me just craft my game, just work on different things that I need to work on. We'll go over film from last year and say, hey, I need to work on this, and then we'll perfect that, get better at it. But the 7-on-7 period definitely helped me to those windows are closing just because high school is getting faster, kids, different teams we're playing, the windows are closing. So just being able to get the timing right with the 7-on-7 and read the coverages definitely helped me.
Hey, for sure. Like I told y'all, man, my boy, cool, calm, and composed on the field, good arm strength, accurate quarterback, but he showed off the legs too, man. But let's hear it from you, brother. From the college coaches watching, man, what are some of the things, that you think that you do that separates yourself from other quarterbacks in your class?
Yeah, like you said, I'm very athletic. So, I think me, just not only the leadership aspect and how smart, because I got a 4.0 GPA, so
there you
I
go.
feel like I got some sort of smarts, but yeah, definitely the way that I read the field and just the time I take into also the running aspect to my game. I'm a dual threat, so they got to stop the run and pass.
Yeah. No, y'all see the highlights. You feel me? It's live, so y'all see the highlights up, my boy. He's the real deal for sure. Definitely has an opportunity to slide in that top 10 spot when we update these 2026 rankings coming up. But, man, let's talk about it. Mitchell football, like we said before we got on, you guys are off to a hot start, 3-0. The offense is rolling. You guys are averaging over 400 yards. It's kind of easier when you got guys like Corey Sims running the ball out the air. You know what I mean? But let's hear it from you, man. Why do you feel like this offense is so successful and this team is so successful this early on in the season?
So, we've been playing, last year is basically, we got all, the same skill positions back, basically. We got the wide receiver. We got RJ Peabody at wide receiver. We got Jack Drapkin, Pharaoh Tillman, which you probably haven't heard of him, but he's a class of 27. He's legit.
Next up.
Yeah. Cody Connor, he's another one. You probably never heard of him, but he's legit.
He's the guy? Okay.
Yeah, of course, Bryce Backus. He's out.
Yeah, I was gonna say Backus coming out, smacking and doing his thing.
Exactly. Just that And over the summer, we've been doing 7-on-7. Like, we just got so much, like, the timing and the connections that we got with each other definitely helps. We got a whole new old line, basically, though. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
That was not a problem, but it was a definitely like we had to
It come down to the trenches. It's
exactly.
It starts at the trenches in the prep level.
Exactly. And they stepped up. They really did. Like, center Adrian Vega, he's doing really good. Right tackle, everybody. Spencer Jackson, right tackle, left tackle Pedro Silva. Like, everybody has been doing really good, and they just really stepped up to help.
Yeah, leader, man, leadership. Definitely talking about the guys. I mentioned some of the guys already. But let's talk about the main man, where it starts, right? The quarterback, brother. What do you feel like has improved in your game from looking at last year and going into this season?
Definitely last year, like, I wasn't really familiar with, like, reading defenses and doing all this and doing all that. But now, like, over the summer, I mean, we've just been training, and I had a whole year of experience of reading defenses, seeing in cover 4 what this man's going to do, cover 3 what this man's going to do. Like, just the different open holes that, like, I found in the defense definitely helped me to improve my game. And it's just slowing down. Like, the game's just slowing down. Yeah.
That's what happens when you get those reps in, you know what I mean? Especially off season, then it comes on the field, continuous reps. Like I said, you got full 2 seasons under your belt. So this year it's the year, right? And you've been making it happen, right? So let's talk about the season, brother. You guys kind of had an up and down season last year. I'm not sure if you started the whole season or not, but 6-5 last year. So, you know what I mean? Started off okay, but it was, like I said, it was like a roller coaster type year. I know that's the conversation with the guys, with the coaching staff. But you guys are 3-0, like we talked about. What's the goal for this team? You know, what's been the message to kind of keep this win streak going?
So we go by something that's like the standard. So, like, we want to keep it at where we should be. And, like, there's a standard that's set at Mitchell, and we just want to keep it there. And last year we kind of not fell short of it, but we were just under it. Like, people would slack off, people would do this. Like, but this year we really we came prepared. We want to get that district championship and hopefully go undefeated.
District, okay, there you go. And I gotta ask you, brother, what's a goal for yourself? I know you got some written down. I know you go to sleep at night thinking about, man, I got to do this. I got to do that. You know, what's some of the things you want to accomplish, you know, in your junior season, brother?
I just want to, me personally, I want to go for at least 3,000 passing yards. Shoot towards that goal, shoot high. Yeah. That's what I want to go for. And 1,000 rushing. That's what I'm going for.
Well, hey, man, you dang near have over 200 passing yards in every game so far. You got an 80-yard rushing game already, you know what I mean? So definitely showing off the wheels. We'll put it up for them to see, so they know you the real deal. But let's talk about it. All of that's got you some interest for some college coaches, man. Let's transition into a little bit of recruitment talk. You got a recent offer here from Troy. Congratulations on that, brother. So let's talk about how that offer came about. What was the conversations like with Coach Parker, and how do you see yourself fitting into that university and program?
Yeah, so, like, last year is where they really started showing interest in me. Like, they know my trainer, Coach Chip. He knows Coach Parker. Like, they know each other, all that over there. So he was telling me to come up. He kept wanting me to come up. So we finally went up. We took the trip up there, and I showed out at the camp. And he basically told me, he said, "Yeah, we like you. We like how you'll fit in the offense. You just keep doing this." And then
there you go. You know what I'm saying, hey, man, really quick, I forgot to ask you, is Troy the only one you got, or what's any other offers you got right now?
Yeah, I just got Troy right now. But I got a lot of interest.
My boy got the interest now. Coastal Carolina hitting them up. I see Pittsburgh showing some love. So just talk about some of those schools and any other schools that's been showing you some love, brother.
Yeah, I went up to Coastal too, and those coaches I did really like, and they showed love. So I'm gonna go up for a game here in October. I'm gonna go for a game up there and see how it's like, see how I like it, and I'll definitely keep in touch with them. Pitt, I haven't. They've kept in contact. I've never face to face went up there. Yeah, I never. Yeah, but
they want to see more, right? They always want to see more.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've been texting them and going back and forth, but I feel like we got a good relationship too.
Yep. Yeah. No, I heard Coastal that campus was nice. You feel me? I heard it's got a good. Talk about it, man. Talk about Troy. How was that visit? And then we transition to the Coastal. How was that visit, man?
Yeah, Troy's campus. It's like a small town, so there's so
you the guy, man. You come out there, you gonna be the guy around on campus.
Exactly. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody. oh, this is the new kid that you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
you
really
from Florida too, you feel me? You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
exactly. It's a
Yeah,
real
yeah,
good like culture up there. Yeah,
yeah.
and Coastal that campus is right by the beach.
Yes,
You got
sir.
it's almost like Florida but up north.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
that
I
kid
heard
I
about
like
Coastal.
Coastal. Yeah,
I heard about Coastal, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, man. So, any other visits you got planned for this season, or you holding off to the off season, brother?
Yeah, I'll probably hold off. I'll probably hold off
Hold
till
off
next
for
summer. Yeah,
sure. Ain't nothing
yeah,
wrong with that. You got plenty of time, right? Plenty of
yeah,
time.
exactly.
Yeah, 2026 quarterback, guys. He still got plenty of time to lock in some offers, right? You know, they pretty much verbal. They be playing games if you don't know
Yeah,
about recruiting. So, but they'll come for sure. He got the grades and he's doing what he needs to do on the field. But really quick, man, before we wrap up, you said I gotta do my Drew's Fast Five, right? I gotta get into your mind, let the people know a little bit about you. So I got
all right,
5 quick questions for you, and you
all right,
answer to your best of your ability. You know what I'm saying?
all
So
right.
let's do it. All right, first question: favorite football player of all time?
Patrick Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes. He got a little bit of the Pat Mahomes vibe
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on. You feel me?
I like Pat. I
I
like
know he
Pat.
get the comparisons, you know what I'm saying? Hey, light skin, light skin boys on top. Don't let it fool you, you feel me? No, but okay, cool. All right, bet. Favorite post game meal?
uh,
Ooh,
I don't know. When I get home, my mom be making me steak and cheese,
mom be
like a
busting
whole
down. You know what I'm
steak. Yep,
saying?
exactly, exactly.
Hey, ain't
That's
nothing.
what I go with.
And I got a lot of Chick-fil-A's. I got Zaxby's, but hey, ain't nothing
Nah,
better than a home cooked meal. You
home
feel me?
cooked meal. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right, bet. I just added this one in. I gotta hear it. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? Ooh,
Probably like
ooh.
teleportation or something. Like
Teleportation.
probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
That boy quarterback, he want to get out the pocket and teleport to the
Exactly.
damn touchdown.
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
that's a bet. That's a bet. All right. Let me
Yeah.
ask. Favorite movie or TV show? You can either do both or one.
Uh, I like Outer Banks TV show. Outer
Okay.
Banks.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Bet.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a movie? You got a favorite movie or not?
I don't know. I don't like. I like movies. Like I'll
Yeah.
watch movies, but I don't think I got a favorite.
Yeah. Okay. Bet, man. My boy a film junkie. He ain't got
The
time for the
action
movie.
though, like
Yeah.
Will Smith, like
There
that
you
type
go.
of.
You like action
Yeah.
type movies,
Yeah.
action type
Yeah.
films? Okay. Bet.
Exactly.
All right. Let me ask you. Let's wrap it up. What you think your best skill on the field is?
My best skill,
Yeah.
probably being able to read the defense and make those throws in those tight
Ooh.
windows. I think that would be my best skill.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That being able to read the defense. Yeah. And that's something we think he improved on this season as well.
Yep.
So, man, I really, Cayden, definitely appreciate you for taking time to talk to me today.
Yeah.
We can have a whole nother show. You feel me? Like I told you, you're going to have fun on here. But I wanted to let the people know who you are and have you on the show so they can get acclimated with you. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like I told you,
Appreciate it.
Pop definitely helps with media and it helps where I can't help you with exposure. He already turning up himself. He doing it with the grades. He taking care of himself on the field on Friday night. So it's going to come. But I wanted to have him on the show for some time now. I've been watching him in the offseason, dogging people. So, man, I appreciate you for jumping on, bro. Really quick.
Yeah.
Let people know where they can find you at. And, hey, you got a good game this week. East Lake, they 0-3, but, hey, you know what I'm saying?
No, they're a good coach. Yeah.
Talk about it real quick.
You can find me on Instagram, Cayden Thomas _, CAYDENTHOMAS _ Twitter _ Cayden Thomas, capital C, capital T.
Yeah. Hey, that's it, bro. Well, hey, man, well-spoken kid, bright future. Definitely going to have you back on, bro, for sure. Really hope you enjoyed yourself. But, yeah, y'all make sure y'all follow my boy. They got a game this week. East Lake, you know what I mean? Don't sleep on them. But they should get the job done with these guys, especially the guys that he mentioned, man. Don't sleep on Mitchell this year. Thank you, my boy. We'll definitely talk after this, bro. I'll have you back on for sure.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Bro, no, all love, bro. Hey, man, that's 2026 quarterback Cayden Thomas out of Mitchell High School. Hey, well-spoken kid. My boy say 4.0 GPA. So he's getting it done in the classroom. And y'all going to see the highlights if you're watching live. So definitely a dual-threat kid, but he's been able to show off his arm. So that shouts out to him, and thank you for coming on, bro. But I got another guest coming on for you guys. You already know, man. We're going to keep it rolling. Man, I got my guy joining us next, right? He's been doing it for some time now. If you're in Polk County, if you're not tagging this guy, and if you don't know this guy, man, I'm not sure what you're doing, if you don't know about recruiting or what, but really glad to have him on, to hear his story and have him talk to you guys. Welcome to the show, everybody. Hasani Harper. What's up, brother?
Up?
How you
Hey,
doing?
man. What's up, my dog? Yeah,
Doing
man.
good.
Let's jump right into it, bro. So, hey, I got you on. As I have my new guest on, I gotta let my people hear the rundown on your backstory, right? So, as I said, man, you've been doing it for some time now in the high school sports space. But for those who don't know the Hasani story, man, let's talk a little bit about your background and how did you get involved in covering high school sports and specifically in the Polk County area, brother?
I mean, sometimes I feel like it happened by accident. Sisters got me into TV production when I was in 10th grade.
Yeah.
And at the time when I was in high school, I was actually more of a bigger high school basketball fan because Kathleen, I graduated from, they were very good in basketball. So I was following the basketball team more than the football team because the football team was still not as great, but you could tell they were on the cusp of getting things turned around.
Yeah.
And so one of the football players just randomly asked me to work on his highlight tape, Marcus Williams, and never did it before. And this is back when everything was still on VHS. I don't even know if the kids today even know what that is. But a long process basically to make highlights back then because you literally had to go watch the entire game, not fast forward, but like watch the entire game to find that highlight and then transfer it over to another cassette tape and then do that for an entire game and then basically do that for the entire season. But made that first one, and thinking back on it now, probably wasn't done correctly, but was done well enough to help that kid get an opportunity to continue playing football at the next level. And from that happening, more of the players on the team would come up to me and ask me for their help. And it branched off from working with the players at Kathleen to then have an opportunity to work with some of the kids in the city of Lakeland. And then by the time I left USF, I started working with kids all across the county. This current season that we're in now makes year number 22 for me. Being involved in whether it's editing highlights for the football players, to covering games across the county and games across the state that I'm able to get to. So,
yeah, man, I appreciate that, brother, for sure. I know some about that, but hey, just to hear more about it is crazy. And I want to ask you though, the H2, right? Let's talk about we talk a little bit about how you got into video editing, but when did you and how did you kind of combine the video editing skills into the recruiting space? You know what I mean? To where you're kind of helping kids get looks to colleges and get to the next level.
So the H2 is basically my name, Hasani Harper. For me, I felt like because I'm willing to put my name on the line, that's why I just came up with the name H2, H2 athletes specifically.
There you go.
Those are the athletes that I'm working with specifically on their highlight film. And so with Huddle, some of the coaches have started to notice they'll see the H2 before the actual highlight plays, just so they see that stamp that this video is H2 approved. So
real deal, right?
But I got into the recruiting world, the recruiting space through a former coworker of mine, Derek Williams. Got to give him a shout out of Sunshine Preps.
There you go.
A lot of the things that I've learned with recruiting, a lot of the things that I learned with, highlight reel editing for recruits, I learned just from watching him and the work that he did across the state with helping athletes himself. And so I was able to take a lot of the work that I learned from him and apply it to my hometown and have been doing that to this day.
And you talked a little bit about the progression and the evolution of recruiting, and just VH tapes, right? Going back to the end. Talk a little bit about it, man. For those that are into recruiting, how has it changed from, I say, 15 years ago with all these recruiting services and camps and tournaments where kids can get eyes on them and post with social media? How has it transitioned from, let's say, 10, 15 years ago into 2024, brother?
I think the biggest thing that has kind of helped has been social media.
Yeah.
Back when I first started, everything really did kind of go through the high school coaches in terms of identifying who the players were, who they needed to know about, college coaches when they would come into town, especially if they weren't getting the tape sent to them. And it's not until they get into town and they ask around, okay, I've been to your school because I kind of heard about your guy, but who else do I need to go check out while I'm here? Now with social media, these kids can take their recruiting process really into their own hands and promote and market themselves. And because of social media, instead of waiting to find out from your coach, hey, who's aware of me or who's been asking about me, if that college coach follows you, now you know for sure which specific coach from which specific program is actually aware of you and might have some sort of interest in you. And then, of course, the more college coaches from that specific program that eventually follows that athlete, the more likely there's some high-level interest in that player by that entire coaching staff. So I think the biggest thing really has been social media. Again, if utilized properly, these kids can really truly take ownership and control of their process and really not have to wait on somebody else to do a lot of the legwork for them. They just utilize those tools. And even if they don't know, just be willing to ask. Again, whether it's a coach on your staff who is savvy enough with social media, or even some of your teammates who have done a good job of marketing and promoting themselves, asking those guys, hey, what are you doing that is getting these coaches to follow you? Of course, the biggest thing, you've got to make plays at the end of the day. You got to stand out from your peers. And one of the positive things with social media, but then also one of the, I guess, the tougher things with recruiting is because there's now much more content available for these coaches. That's a little bit of a filtering out process. And so you have to really make those standout plays that are going to capture people's attention and draw them to you specifically.
For sure. You made a good point. I think social media has been one of the most useful tools for upcoming prospects to use in the game of recruiting. But if you had, and you just listed some useful tips as well, but if you, of course, you gotta have social media, guys. If you're an upcoming kid, make sure you get on social media to get your name out there. As Hasani said, you can be your own self-promotion, and nobody promotes yourself better than you. And it starts with Friday nights, right? If you're not getting it done on Friday nights, if you're not handling what's need to be done on and off the field as well, it's not going to work. But if you had one tip, man, what's your biggest tip to maybe a freshman or incoming freshman to maybe help them kick off their recruiting?
The biggest thing is the sooner you can get on varsity and make high-level plays, the better. Especially with this transfer portal, it seems like the recruiting timeline has really almost like shifted up a full year for these guys to try and put themselves in a position to get on varsity and start making plays right away. At the end of the day, these college coaches, they're looking for playmakers, like guys who can come in and contribute right away. So that means you can't afford to have a slow start to your season once the season is here. And again, you have to make game-changing plays. That's what they need to win ball games at that next level. So the more you can show that on film and do that consistently in the games that you play, it just increases your chances of at least getting those college coaches to take a look at your film, evaluate you, and then see from there if your skills and your measurables translate to whatever specific level that coach is coaching at. But the biggest thing I'd say is just get to the varsity level and contribute as a key player for your team as quickly as possible. And then to add on to that, because I've always felt like I always use the hashtag film don't lie. Your film is your body of work. That's your resume. And so for you athletes, because you got huddle or quick cut, now you have that ability, again, not to have to wait on somebody else to do your film for you. Like as soon as your game's over with and you've had a chance to evaluate the mistakes that you've made and the things that you need to correct for the next week, go ahead and start those clips. Like put together your film, get it together, and then promote it. But of course, at first, make sure that it's actually been done correctly. So whether that's having a coach on your staff take a look at it before you promote it, or have somebody who does know what they're doing in terms of how a film should look, how it should be presented. Having somebody like that take a look at it before you promote it. But actually staying on top of getting that work done. Because again, these college coaches, they don't have time to wait on you, especially when they have so many film that they have to go through on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. those guys who put themselves in a position to get their film watched as soon as possible and get that coaching staff to fall in love with them first are the ones that, again, put themselves in a position where they're staying a step ahead of their competition. Because they're basically showing that, hey, not only do I want to play at the next level, but this is how serious I am about wanting to be seen, wanting to be evaluated. I'm staying on top of getting my body of work presented and promoted out there for coaches and scouts to see.
Real game, man. I hope you guys got your notebook out, right? And that's why I bring these type of guests on. They bring so much value to the listeners for upcoming prospects, to parents and even administrators that have issues or trouble with recruiting. Man, make sure you get in touch with this guy. But let's talk some Polk County ball, bro. We talked about it, man. I know you made it a thing of yours to try to get a photo with every head coach, you know what I mean, before the game.
It's something new I'm doing this year in terms of just kind of promoting some of the games that I'm going to.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's so far so good.
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. Is there any any teams in the Polk County area or any coaching staffs you're excited about this season?
I mean, in terms of teams, definitely, of course, when you think of Polk County, you got to start with Lakeland. They've been the most championships in our county, consistently going deep into the playoffs every single year. Always going to be loaded with college prospects, always going to be loaded with playmakers. Another team that I think of, Lake Wells. I feel like ever since that state championship win, they've kind of put themselves in a position to kind of be the Lakeland of that side of the county, in terms of also getting talent to want to come over there and come play for that coaching staff. So I definitely say those two programs right there are kind of, at least with the public schools. And then I got to give a shout out to, of course, Victory and Lakeland Christian. Those two programs have done a good job. Those staffs have been there for a while. They've consistently had kids come through that have also played at a high level, even though they're, considered one of the smaller programs in the county. But they've got talent at those programs as well. And those guys have been playing at the next level and contributing for the teams that they're at now as well. So shout out to Victory and Lakeland Christian.
Yeah, really quick before I get you out of here, Sonny, because Sonny's about boots on the ground, right? If he's not, he's probably at a game every week, right? I don't know where he's at. If he's not at a game, but he's gonna be at a game, and he has his players of the week every week for you guys. Hasani, do you got any players that you want to mention in the Polk County area that may be standing out right now? Maybe an under the radar guy. We got kids like a Shenard Clower that's kind of blowing up on in the Polk County area. But is there any kids that you want to mention that you like?
I was going to say, I'm glad you did mention Shenard, because I feel like even though we kind of know him here in the Polk County area, I feel like he's still, and I don't know if it's maybe stuff going on academically, why he's still under the radar in terms of college programs recruiting him. But from a playmaker standpoint, what he's done up to this point so far in the season, and then the schedule that they played, beating number 10 nationally ranked Miami Central, beating a top 15 team in the state in Lake Mary just this past weekend. And he was one of the key guys to help make it possible for them. I got to give a big shout out to Shenard, and hopefully, these college coaches, they take a look at his film and see what he brings to the table, both from a wide receiver standpoint, but then also on special teams, his impact there, being able to return kicks, return punts, and put points on the board for his team. So definitely want to give a shout out to Shenard Clower.
How about Cornelius Purdy out of Lake Wells, 2027 kid?
Listen, that's the future face of Polk County right there, and it's crazy to see the growth in his game, even with the crazy stats he put up last year as a freshman. But now to see what he's doing in his sophomore season, I think I was looking at the clip from the Ridge Community game. Wow. And that play right there went viral.
Creative player, bro.
it was still a close contest at that point in time. I think the score was like 11-8, if I'm not mistaken, and it was was like either a second and long or a third and long play, but he caught that pass, outran his defender, and then ran through a defensive back en route into the end zone. And then there was another clip just this past week against Auburndale. I'm just watching it, and I'm like, this man, he's a wide receiver, but he runs like a running back.
He really does.
And just to see just how strong in just 1 year that he has gotten, it's just amazing to see. Like, again, Coach A.G. At Lake Wells, shout out to him, because he put me on to the kid when he was an 8th grader that spring, when he was just out there just checking out Lake Wells. He's like, hey, that's the future right there.
Yeah.
You know, and just being able to remember seeing this kid and just how he looked at his age is physically different. You could tell he was going to be special. And so now to see everything come to fruition, I'm definitely happy for the kid, and as well as happy for that Lake Wells program, because they got a guy that can really, you know, continue to help keep that program where it's at right now, and that's being one of the top teams in the county.
Yes, sir. And game of the week, man. Before I get you out of here, Sonny, we're talking about Lake Wells. Are you gonna be out there for that Lake Wells Sebring game?
So that's been a game that has honestly been very competitive. Low scoring, but still very good football, very competitive these last few years. And I know Sebring, they're a little bit younger because of the amount of experience that they graduated with this past class, but they still play tough-nosed football. They got a few transfers in that have really helped the program this year, and so I'm expecting another close competitive game. And of course, it's one matchup that Sebring's always looking forward to. So I know it's going to be a lot of helmets flying around in that game. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
Hey, man, Lake Wells got like 27-game win streak or something, like some crazy win streak like that. So that'll be on the line. Sebring's got the Kavion Mason kid at running back. He's been a bell cow coming over from Fort Meade. So that'll be a good game. You know what I mean? Is there any other games that people should have their eyes on? I know Lakeland Christian and Mulberry, Fort Meade and Mulberry. That would have been a good one if they could have beat Lakeland Christian. Frostproof in Lakeland Christian.
So that's the game. I'm glad you mentioned that one, because if I wasn't going to the Lake Wells Sebring game, I definitely was going to head to that Frostproof Lakeland Christian game. I think that's going to be some good small school ball football right there. And again, both teams have prospects, and so hopefully, if the fans Lakeland Christian fans, they'll make the trip down to Frostproof. I know it's quite a drive, but it's a great atmosphere to go watch a football game, and I know the Frostproof faithful, they're definitely going to show up. So.
Yeah. Hey, man, you guys got a little bit of the Hasani story. I got my boy on for longer, but for sure, I got the GOAT waiting on me. But you heard a little bit of the Hasani story, you know what I mean? We got a little bit of Polk County ball. So, but I appreciate you, brother. We're definitely going to have you on again. We're going to recount some more Polk County ball. But I wanted the people to get eyes on you. For those who don't know, I don't know how you don't know, but this is H2 Recruiting, Hasani Harper, man. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming on to talk some Polk County ball, brother. Let the people know where they can find you and where they can find the database, man.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter. That's honestly where I'm at the majority of the time, at H2_recruiting. And then also my other account, at H2 Athletes with an S. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, but primarily on Twitter because that's where I do a lot of the networking with the college coaches. Yep.
Hey, man, if you need help with recruiting, make sure you're tapping in with my guy on all social media platforms. He didn't talk about – they got the database too, you know what I mean? They have a database, him and my boy Landon May at Polkway, trying to help give Polk County kids even more exposure, right? If you're in this game, you don't do it.
Kids across the state, kids across the nation. I could have asked you about that too, because my boy tapped in, not just in Polk, like he's all over, right? He's even going out of the state too. So if you need help in recruiting overall and you're in high school, make sure you're getting in contact with this guy. They got the database as well. So this is somebody you need to be tapped in with. I appreciate you for coming on, bro. We'll definitely talk after this. And I'll have you on again, bro. I hope you enjoyed yourself, bro, for sure. Oh, yeah, I did. Appreciate you having me on, Drew.
For sure, brother, man. I appreciate you, bro. Hey, that's my guy right there, man. That's Hasani Harper. Been covering Polk County for some time now, man. If you don't know him, make sure you tapping in. If your kid needs help with recruiting, needs help getting college coaches getting eyes on his film, that's a type of guy you need to be in contact with. But let's transition, man. Another guy, right? This is one of the. If you don't know this guy, I don't know. I don't even know if you know about high school sports, man. But we got my guy coming on, Larry Blustein. In my opinion, to go to high school sports, right? We have him coming back on the show We're gonna talk some South Florida ball and just get into it, right? Got to have my guy on. I love talking to this guy. Let's have him on. What's up, Larry? What's up, brother?
Good.
How's you
What's up,
waiting?
Drew?
How's you waiting for some time? You know what I mean?
Listen, Hasani's great. I just saw him a couple weeks ago
that's
down
my
in yeah, he's good people. I'm repping my UNLV Rebels because they're
look,
off to
hey,
a
2-0
start, man. They're off to
he's a night too. He's a night too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at UNLV,
listen, I got my graduate degree from the night, so
you feel me?
Got a little bit of everything in there, and yeah, a lot of busy times, you know. I mean, on the Prep Red Zone Florida, I mean,
Yes,
I think we're kind of killing it, you know, statewide, and
no doubt we killing it. No doubt we killing it.
You know, so we're working pretty hard, and you know, obviously, you know, during the off season, I'm all over the state, and then during the regular season, I pretty much stay in South Florida because you got a couple of billion games every week, and we had one last week that you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I'll tell you, Drew, it might have been one of the best games that I've been at, and it was kind of a survival game for Chaminade, who got off to an 0-2 start. And this is a team that's been to state 8 years in a row. They were the number 2 team in the nation last year. They lost in the opening game to Bosco of California, but then they got upset by Blanche Ely from Pompano Beach down. And this was the first time that they lost to a local team in almost 6 years. So, yeah, but and then their backs were against the wall last Friday. They had to play American Heritage Plantation, which you know is loaded with talent, Diabella quarterback, and Malachi Tony, and the whole gang. And the thing is Chaminade had to start a third team quarterback.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I was going to ask you about that kid. We know about that kid, right?
Yeah, because you see, that's the thing. Having a chance to travel around, you get an opportunity to see a kid like him, and certainly Preston Wright was a quarterback for Ocala Trinity for 2 years.
Sir.
He came down and went to Cardinal Gibbons in Fort Lauderdale, and then they had 2 quarterbacks that they're grooming for the future. So he kind of was relegated to third team. So he moved down into Hollywood and went to Chaminade Madonna, and he came in there and he was a number 2. Then they added somebody. Then he became a 3. The first guy quit or went to another school, and the second guy got hurt. So he had to go, and his first game down here was against Heritage. And a lot of people said, "Oh no, here, you know, they're going to go to 0-3." But I'll tell you what, Preston Wright put a performance together last week, completing 24 of 35 for 471 yards and 4 touchdowns. And
he deserves it, man.
Kind of shut up the critics, and the game came down. The game came down to the last second, 2 seconds left, and a field goal. And Chaminade gets back in the win column. But I will tell you this. Yeah. You look at Heritage and Chaminade. I don't think there's 2 1-2 teams better in the country. I mean, come on. I mean, you take a look at these 2 teams. And now Chaminade plays tomorrow night. I'll be there. It's a rare Thursday night for them, but I guess they got something cooking. And then the following week they got Norland, and then Friday I'll be at the big one between Northwestern and Miami Norland, 2 teams that obviously, you know, people in Venice know Northwestern pretty well. They took them into overtime, probably the closest team to play Venice. And it's been a really good start. And as you know, I mean, every week we do our rankings, our top 30 rankings for our Prep Red Zone. And, you know, I wasn't afraid after Lakeland beat Central in IMG. I'm not, you know, I think we have to put an IMG only because they're in the state, but I'm begrudgingly putting them very high because, you know, their recruiting is just crazy compared to, you know, a Lakeland or a St. Thomas. St. Thomas recruits and private schools recruit, but they only recruit locally. They don't recruit nationally. So, I mean, you know, I agree with Hasani about Lakeland, though, Drew. I mean, they're a good football team. You know, they start 3 games on the road to begin the season. You know, they started at Lakeland. They went to Lake Mary, and this week they're at Winter Haven. But the thing is their home opener on the 20th is against Miami Booker T. Washington. It's the first ever meeting between the 2 schools. A lot of orange and black on that night. And, there's some pretty good – and, you know, I mean, we do our we just finished our state 2026 updated rankings. There's some really, really good players on there. And the thing is what we do is we update every other month. So if you're not ranked now, there's a lot of kids. Oh, I should be here.
Gosh.
So we update them. And, and you look at 2025, we have 1,170 kids ranked. That's pretty impressive. And
nobody's doing it like that for people that's watching.
Well, we're getting that way with our 2026. We have close to 600, and we've only ranked them twice. And then, I'm not big, and I told you I'm not big on just ranking kids to rank them. So we'll have our 27 after the season, and we'll build from there. But between you and me, we're releasing a lot of 27 kids too. And as I just was listening to you guys talk about the kid from Lake Wales is a beast.
Oh man!
And but that whole class. That whole class is going to be really,
2027
really
got some dogs. 2027
they do. And 2028.
Yeah, 2028 too, right?
Yeah. I mean, you got two quarterbacks in Neiman Lawrence from Ransom Everglades in Miami, and the kid Mons from Vero Beach are two 2028 kids that are beasts. So we keep busy, and I don't have to tell you.
We look at this 2026 class and like, oh my goodness, eyes wide open. But the next few classes might be just as good and maybe better, right?
And I agree. I mean, you look at that 2026 class, and you got, crazy. And we, like I said, we just re-ranked it last week. We've been posting, and that's the one thing what we do is when we re-rank, we'll all the new kids on there, we'll make sure that they know that they're in it. We list them, we get them together. But IMG is very heavy with the rankings, and without them, obviously we wouldn't have the studs. But just in the top 5, they got 3 kids for the 26 class. The kid Elijah Golden, the defensive end, who's really, really good, and the Kenai Pepe, who's very, very good, and then the Zach Ford. Who's really, really good. But there's a lot of really good kids for that 26 class. Obviously, Calvin Russell from Miami Northwestern is a beast. 6'4", 180-pound kid. You got quarterbacks in that class like Dia Bell and Noah Grubbs, who you saw last week, and the kid Brady Hart. And then Will Griffin from Tampa Jesuit, is one of the good ones. And then Darian Coleman, from Orlando Jones, who committed to Miami. So that quarterback class in 2026 is going to be crazy good. And, they a lot of talent. Yeah.
And Larry kicked it off on fire, right? Talking about some of the South Florida powerhouses, but in my, Central, Heritage, Chaminade, but what's the latest, man? What else is going on out there for our South Florida people watching, maybe from Northwestern coming this week? They got a good game. What else we need to know, Larry?
Yeah, like I said, Northwestern's got a really, really good game. St. Thomas is up their schedule this year. Obviously they played Bishop Gorman and came within a touchdown of winning. And then they've won the last couple of weeks, beat Columbus pretty good last week. This week they play Western. Two teams that are in 7A, probably not as good as everybody expected. Obviously you have teams like Miami Central, which you mentioned. Central has kind of a breather this week, and then they play against American Heritage next week. And that's what I said. Every single week, Drew, in South Florida, they have some high-level teams. Miami Norland, who went to the 2M state final last year, lost to Berkeley Prep. They're off to a 2-0 start. We'll see on Friday. That's a big one at Travis Powell Stadium in Miami against Northwestern. That's going to be one of those 10,000. They're going to have to turn away people for that game because that's one of the only one bigger is when they play Central Northwestern. You got Blanche Ely. A lot of people around the state don't know much about them. This is a program that in the past has done real well. They've sent guys like they used to have guys like Tyrone Moss back in the day. And, really good program. But Ely's off to a 2-0 start. They should go to 3. Actually, they have a really good game this week against Delray Atlantic, and they're in our poll. The Atlantic's 22, and Ely's right there, in the 16, in the 14 range.
Good test.
And then Chaminade, as we said, they're at 15 and they'll play against Edison. But then the next week, number 12, Norland, which is going to be one of those really, really good games. Monarch, a team that opened up the year with a win against Peachtree Ridge, Georgia, in that Broward Showcase, but they haven't played since. They had a bye week and then they got rained out or lightninged out. But this week they take a trip up to Sanford Seminole. So that should be an interesting matchup. You know as well as I do, Seminole's a really good program.
Yes,
They do
sir.
really well. And we talk a little bit about Atlantic High School, as I said, a pretty good program. I think they do a tremendous job up there as well. And yeah, I mean, there's some pretty good South Florida teams. But on the overall, you look around the state, and as I said, I mentioned Lakeland. Obviously, they're our number one team this week again. St. Thomas is 2. Venice is, they more than showed than what they could do. This week they play an undefeated Port Charlotte team on the road, but then the next week they got number 11 Cocoa at home. Yeah. Cocoa's another team. They ain't shying away, I can tell you. Yeah. Armwood had a pretty close game last week with a good Tampa Bay Tech team. And Armwood's done real well. They got they played Durant High School this week, which should be an interesting game, but then they have a road game at Tampa Hillsborough. As I said, Orlando Jones is going to be a team to watch.
Yes, sir.
Right. They got a big game on Saturday night against Edgewater. They're playing that in the, over at Camping World Stadium, which should be really, really good. Interesting game this week. Mandarin, without, lost their quarterback, Tramel Jones, who's a FSU commit. But they play a game at Bradford County against Bradford County team that just beats South Sumter. And, I'll tell you what, Bradford's better than people think. I know Mandarin's huge. They got all the dudes, the Jamie Frenches and, guys like Hilton Stubbs and all guys. But, and another team that a lot of people are sleeping on, and the Lakeland fans know them pretty well from last year, is Buchholz, Gainesville Buchholz. Yep. Yeah, they're a really, really good team. They play Manatee this week, but then they go to Richmond Hill, Georgia. Yes, you got some really good teams, around the state. As you saw, Lake Mary, they've done a nice job. He's a good coach.
Really good coach.
Done a great job up there. And then we mentioned, obviously, Clearwater Central Catholic. CCC. Don't sleep on them because they'll move to 3-0 this year, and then they go this week, and then they go to Ocala Trinity the following week, which should be an interesting game. And then, as I heard you and Hasani talking, Lake Wales undefeated at 3-0. They've won somewhat in the regular season. They've won like 27 in a row or something crazy. They play Sebring, not the best Sebring team they've had,
right. That last year team would have been
you mentioned Mason. Mason originally started at Lake Placid, then he went up to Fort Meade, and now he's at Sebring. Kind of came back, but they're kind of tuning up for a big game the following week. They're at Sanford Seminole as well. That's going to be, if you remember, the last time Lake Wales went on the road against a pretty good team was Vanguard, and Vanguard kind of took them apart last year. And then
Gaskin, Fred Gaskin, That Gaskin kid
Gaskin's right, who's at USF
crazy.
now.
Yeah. He's an athlete at quarterback, right?
100%. And then I'll tell you another team a lot of people are sleeping on, forgot about them, was Jacksonville Reigns. They're off to a 3-0 start.
They beat Bowles, right, to start the year?
Well, they beat Bowles to start the year, and they came up with a big win over Trinity Christian, who's normally a power. And then this week, obviously, you got a mainland team that's really down. They haven't won yet, but
they lost a lot, right?
Yeah, they lost a whole lot. So, and then they got Riverside. So before their next test, they could be 5-0. And I'll tell you a couple of teams that don't sleep on Orlando, the First Academy. We kind of watched them. They're definitely, they come in, they're a 23rd ranked team in our poll. A program that, beat Treasure Coast, who's a big school, and beat them good. They beat Edgewater to start out the year. Yeah, and so they're and they got Sanford Seminole coming up in a couple of weeks. Another panhandle team that a lot of people are listening, up in that area to you, is Niceville. When Niceville came up with a big win, they play Crestview, another team that's pretty good this week, and then they go to Fort Walton Beach, Choctaw, who I'll tell you what, that's our 28th team, and they're another team. Coach Beasley's done a great job up in the Panhandle with them. And then Bishop Verot, who wasn't in our top 30, even though they got beat by Venice, like a basketball score, 71-56. Yeah, I think they showed what they're all about. They play Clearwater Calvary this week, and then they got Cardinal Mooney, who's the defending 1M state champions. And then Tampa Plant kind of slid back a couple of weeks ago. And then another team that you want to keep your eye on is O'Galley over in the Cocoa area. You know, they're a really good team. They play Satellite and then Orange City University, which should be a pretty decent game. Yeah, so we got a lot of teams that are playing real well. You know, shout out to
what do you think about St. Augustine?
Yeah, St. Augustine's another team. Yeah, we got them. I'm sorry, I zipped over St. Augustine. They're our number 18th ranked team. Yeah,
they're pretty good. I like St. Augustine, man.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. So, you know, I mean, statewide, a lot of the teams are doing really well. It's a real competitive year. Everybody's playing one another, which really makes for a decent, you know, so now you don't have to guess at the end of the year, you'll know. And yeah, so we're excited about, you know, especially over at Red Zone. We come out daily with stuff. I know that people read you a lot and they enjoy it. And, you know, we come up with a lot of, like today we had a couple of defensive players, top defensive players. We did a few other things. Yeah. And then tomorrow we got, I looked at some of the top pass rushers in the state. You know, we got quite a few of them, and we got
to mix it up for you guys, right?
No doubt. And then Friday we have our Football Friday where we take 10 teams and take a look at the 10 teams, and then, you know, we'll kind of like give everybody
games of the week, right? We preview our games of the week.
10 game, you do one on tomorrow or tomorrow, and then we come back with 10 more on Friday, and then we have a statewide scoreboard, which nobody has. I mean, you know, I know they
like Larry for that. Nobody.
I know they do prep red zone. I mean, I knew that Josh and them at Florida High School, but that's, you know, through ScoreStream, and you don't get them in order. We have everyone in order from the entire Thursday through Saturday, and it makes it a lot easier for college coaches, Drew, to really look when they're looking for a score. So we come out with that with Saturday, and then on Monday we come back with our, you know, the rewind of the weekend, some of the top things that happened. We review some of the scores in the top 25, and then Tuesday we do it all over again with our top 30. And then the Wednesday and Thursday we devote to, you know, as I said, getting a lot of players out there, giving them recognition. So it's a lot going on, and we're excited about it.
Man. That's what we try. That's what we hope to provide to you guys, right? That's all we can hope for. Larry, you know, Larry doing my job for me, but I'm definitely impressed with teams like a Venice High School, Armwood, even like the Lake Marys, the St. Augustines. Because I was going to ask you, like, what were some of the teams you felt like people should have their eyes open for?
I kind of stole your thunder, right?
No, that's why. This is why it works out so good. You know what I mean? It just flows. It flows well to me, but. Those are some of the schools I definitely got my eyes on, right? Yeah. And so really quick, man, I got to ask you, Larry, let's kind of recap some of these shocker games, right? I want to talk about, we'll start with IMG and Cocoa. Brady Hart kind of, you know, that's my guy, right? But he kind of had a off game playing against some of the, you know, those edge rushers, and the windows get a little bit tighter when you're playing against that speed and a coaching staff that has the time to prepare for you. So, what was your first thoughts on the game after seeing that score? It was 34-13.
Yeah. Too much depth. IMG's really deep team on both sides of the ball, and if you fall behind them, that's not a good thing, because then they could run the ball or they could wear you down up front, and that's what probably happened in
they
the
were
Cocoa
huge,
game.
They looked huge on
yeah, they are. But take nothing away from what Coach Snyder's doing at Cocoa. They're a really good football team. You know, they got Heritage this week, and then next week is a big one.
Well, not Heritage. That's Palm Bay, right?
Yeah, Palm Bay. Well, Palm Bay Heritage is pretty good. They're not, great, but that's a tune-up for the following week. They play.
It should be a good game, right? It should be a good game, though. Okay,
it should be. I mean, Venice is, people don't understand. Venice let up 55 points. Yeah, but they're scoring 60 a game.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. On the field a lot, right?
So they're doing real well. That's going to be a tough team by the end of the year, but there's a lot of other teams, that are starting to emerge. We get a lot of, feedback on our top 30, but I told them, I says, you got a whole, season. We rank them every week. So, there's a lot of guys, a lot of teams, as you said, like, First Baptist of Naples is, they're undefeated. They're Fort Myers has kind of bugged us. They're 3-0. Naples, but Naples got a test this week. An angry Palm Beach, Plantation American Heritage is going there. So we'll see what happens.
Naples.
Orlando Bishop Moore started off 3-0.
Bishop Moore, shouts out to my guy Bjorn, man.
Yeah. He's really headed to Virginia, but other teams that we don't get to see because they're in the Panhandle. Pensacola Catholic, if you remember last year, they played against Bradford County and they were up late in the game, and they could have gone to state very easily. They kind of reloaded a little bit. Spruce Creek over in the on that in the area right near not far from Orlando. They've done real well. As I said, Sanford Seminole off to a 2-0 start. They got Monarch this week, which should be a pretty good. Cardinal Mooney, we can't. I know the fans are always busting on me to put them into the top 30, but over the next couple of weeks. How about Tarpon Springs?
Man. Shout out to my guy Quinn, Joel Quinn.
Right. But it wasn't too long ago that Tarpon Springs couldn't win games. And now they started off 3-0. They're well coached. They got a lot of new faces on the team.
Transfers help a little bit, you know what I
mean? A lot. Yeah. But those are some of the teams. Cardinal Newman of West Palm Beach is an undefeated team. They've run the gauntlet. And one of the programs that says keep an eye on us because they're playing well is Tallahassee Lincoln. It's been a while since they've been in the spotlight. But, there's some teams, and I'm sure that all your viewers will have an opportunity as the season goes along to hear about a lot of those teams. And, we'll come back and we'll kind of update everybody from time to time. But I don't want to steal your thunder because I know you like to talk about those teams.
I want to circle back. So really quick, it's the Shocker game. So depth, people that's watching, depth was a real issue for Cocoa High School. Me and Larry not taking nothing away from the Coach Snyder
at all.
What they got going on, really high-powered offense. I just think IMG might have had a little bit too much. And I got to ask you, Larry, of course, we were texting throughout the games, going back and forth. You were at Heritage Chaminade. I was at Lakeland Lake Mary. What was your initial thoughts when you seen that game? Wow, my potential game of the year candidate. There's plenty of other games to be played. But if you were at that game, it was crazy. The overtime with Noah Grubbs going off. What was your initial thoughts of that game, brother?
Well, both teams have been challenged this year. As we said, Lakeland opened up at Miami Central, which was a great game. I happened to be there for that game. Central made a lot of mistakes and, didn't convert when they needed to. And then Lakeland played really sound. Not the biggest Lakeland team that I've seen. A good team, athletic, but they're going to be in some dogfights this year. They still got a pretty tough schedule coming up. Even though Booker T may not be the Booker T of old, they're still a South Florida team with a lot of experience. And so that's going to be interesting. So, to be honest, when I saw you kept sending me the score, I figured it was going to be that close because I don't think anybody really knows or really has a grasp how good Noah Grubbs is. I mean, he's a beast. So I knew he'd keep him in the game. I knew
he's a real deal.
Yeah. And then, I wasn't surprised. I thought that would be a good game, especially after Lake Mary took care of business against Gibbons.
Not to cut you off, Larry. One thing I was surprised about though was Noah having 2 6'5" receivers on the outside to throw to.
Well, he got the transfers in. That's helped him.
And the Bell Cow kid. We talked about the Isaiah Thomas kid. Man, this guy's really impressive in person. To be able to, I think he had over 20 carries. It seemed like it, and he never slowed down. He's the type of running back that starts off fast and builds up and gets even stronger in the fourth quarter. Very hard to train a kid like that, Larry.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be definitely a favorite to reach the state final in 7A. They got to beat, obviously, Sanford Seminole, which is going to be a pretty tough little assignment. But I think because of Popka's fallen off a little bit, a couple of the other teams, like DeLand, is not what everybody thought they were, although Coach Darlington's done a good job. I think it'll come down to Lake Mary and to Seminole, and I think the winner of that game will get Venice because I don't think anybody in South Florida could beat Venice. I just well, I thought before the year that Western, Miami, Palmetto, and Columbus would, but I've seen them all three play, and Venice is the deal. Venice, I think Venice. They over the next couple of weeks, they're not at number 3 right now. I think the way it is right now, Lakeland, St. Thomas, and them 1, 2, 3. I don't figure that's going to change this year. I think they're all going to be. I don't see St. Thomas losing again. Lakeland certainly
You know how that schedule gets later in the year. They start playing the cupcakes.
Yeah. So I think they're going to stay there. And people were angry. Oh, how could you put Lakeland number 1? Because they beat a nationally ranked team in Central,
and they're back-to-back state champions.
Exactly, on the road, and they are. Yeah, so it wasn't easy. So they are my number 1 team. They'll stay there until they lose, just like IMG was number 1. And they lost. They lost to a regular school, a public school from out in Utah. So, and then I dropped them down. Obviously, they had a big win this week, but I don't see them cracking the 3. But they do play Venice, so that should be interesting.
Venice got Coco and the real IMG, right? The guys, right?
You know what?
Coach PCC?
Coach Peacock wants all the smoke. You know that he wants everything.
Yeah. You're right about that.
And I don't blame him. He came down to Northwestern last year. They had him up this year. They play IMG. They'll go there and. We'll see. They may get worn down on the front line, but they're going to score some points. That's the thing.
They're getting me hyped by Venice. I got to have somebody from Venice on, man. They might be state champions, man. I know Lakeland.
Right now, Drew, they're the favorite to win 7A. They really are. I don't think
it's them in Lake Mary, and then that's
and Seminole. Those are the 3.
Seminole.
I think those are the 3 schools because at the beginning of the year I thought maybe Western, but they've underachieved.
They might not have enough.
They haven't won, and they play St. Thomas this week, so good chance that they won't win.
That's how you might lose a couple guys. You get beat
up.
And
then Columbus got plastered last week by St. Thomas 42-6, and then Palmetto's lost a couple of key games. So I don't think there is the champions going to come from South Florida. I think
what's something in the water this year, Larry, or what is it?
I don't know.
I know you lose a couple guys. It's not. I know that happens, right? I mean,
South Florida. I told you
5 stars.
Well, we had 185 transfers in just 2 counties, so that doesn't help. And,
I was talking about transferring in Polk County. I couldn't imagine something even on that scale. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah, well, they have a thing called school of choice, and as long as the school has empty desks, you could get in there. That's why you look at Central and Northwestern and Norland and Booker T and those inner city schools. Yeah. They're like an endless loop because they always have desks. They're under enrolled, the outside, the suburb schools, not so much, they're pretty well, but those inner city schools, especially in Miami-Dade County, will always be where they're at because they have, and Carroll City, we're going to start talking a little bit about them. Coach Stubbs is really turning them around as well too. Not this year, but next year, but everybody's counting down 2 weeks. It'll be Central and Northwestern. That game usually packs the place. It's crazy. Yeah. They don't like each other. They're 18 blocks away from one another, so that makes the rivalry a little
makes it even more staticky, right?
And crazy thing is a lot of families are split. A lot of families that are, kids are going to Central, but their parents went to Northwestern, or they're going to Northwestern, or their parents went to Central, and that's
the South Florida stuff, right? That's from the South Florida people watching, right?
That's crazy football. That's where you get there early and you just
enjoy it. Enjoy it.
The great thing about Travis Powell Stadium this year is they used to park where the media park. They have a spot for the media, but now they built a high school for some crazy reason. It's like a charter school, and now people have to park way on the other side, so the media gets right out after the game.
Hey, that helps us, I guess.
Helps us is right, but so I'll be there Friday night. Yeah. Tomorrow night I'll see Chaminade, Miami, Edison, Luther Campbell.
Let us know where you'll be at this week, Larry.
Yeah, Thursday, and then Friday I'll be at Northwestern and Norland, and then Saturday is a couple of games, but I think I'm going to go see University of Miami play. I watched them last week. They did a really, really good job last week.
Good,
they're a good team.
I gotta respect it.
Yeah. They haven't done it in a long time. The people down. We host a podcast every Monday night called the Six Rings Canes, and
that's a plug.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, there have been some lean years.
One thing about Miami, being a Knoll is watching Miami throughout the years. They don't usually have an identity, right? When you're watching teams, that Florida's going to be physical. They're going to be able to run the ball. When I watch Miami, it's more I don't know what they're going to do, right? And then if you know Jacoby Harris, I can go back and from the quarterback. They never really have a guy. So no, it definitely looks like a
They do now,
team, right? You know what I mean? Oh, don't make me. Oh my gosh, we got DJ and they got him. So I'm.
Oh yeah, well they tried to get Cam Ward.
They didn't have the money, didn't have the bag, right?
Yeah, well, Miami has that bag, and
we know that
their offensive line probably cost them more than the Cowboys spent on theirs.
Yeah, man. Hey, man, I hope you guys are really appreciating the value a guy like Larry brings on, right? I could talk to this brother for a whole hour myself, right? But Larry let y'all know where he's going to be at this week. He talked about everything he's doing with Prep Red Zone. We're trying to help you guys get exposure every day, right? We're smashing it for you guys. It's all about y'all, right? But Larry, close us out really quick. Any other players and teams, just close us out with some wise words or anybody you want to mention, brother.
Well, I think I went over pretty much the whole
state, man. If y'all didn't get, you covered the whole state from the little guys to the big guys.
Yeah, I do want to kind of let everybody know because we just like re-ranked the 2026 kids. There's a lot of guys throughout the state. A couple of big guys. Grant Wise is from Pace High School in the Panhandle. Yeah, this kid. His dad played at the University of Miami. And the thing about Grant Wise, he's like 6'4", 305. But not only that, he's a 2-time weightlifting champion, and he holds down a 4.5 GPA in the classroom. And to me, I think that's extremely important when you get guys like that. I think also, a kid that is at Venice that doesn't get the pub, but he will. He's only a junior. His name is Shari Charles. He's an outside linebacker, 6'3", 225. He's a kid. And then a couple that a lot of people don't get a chance to see, especially, in the northern part of the area. You look at guys that, Karan Maycock from Miami Central getting a lot of play, so they're, you get a lot of kids, there's a lot of kids that people don't. You're talking about St. Augustine. They got Samorian Wingo. Kid is a really good wide receiver, for 2026. Wow. I mean, we went over in the 2025 kids. Everybody knows DJ Pickett from Zephyr Hills. He's committed to LSU. The big guy, Dallas Wilson from Tampa Bay Tech, who's a stud. Yeah, and I don't have to tell you about, some of the kid Grayson Littleton from Wiregrass Ranch, who, a lot of people don't get a chance to see them play. Also, Zaire Addison, a big offensive lineman that was at Sumner. Yeah, there's a lot of kids that you got to keep an eye on, coming up. We know Keon Young from Lakeland, who's a freak, and we watched him play. I think he's a big-time,
we can talk about it. I think he's playing out of position, Larry. We can talk about that off the air, but I think he might be playing out of position, man.
Well, you know what? And I've learned this, Drew, that you do whatever you can to get your team and make your team.
Yes, I think that's what it is. I think
because, there's a lot of kids in this state, especially athletic quarterbacks, that won't play that position. You talked about one of them at Vanguard last year. He's not a quarterback, but he had to, to give his team the best chance to win. And, and especially, you look at the kid that left Auburndale this year and went to Lakeland, which Williams kid. And I felt real bad because I think he's missing out on a lot of experience. And, and Lakeland hasn't had a game where they've run away and give him an opportunity to get in there and play. So, that may come this week against.
It might this week. Shout out to my boy Coach Carl White and Winter Haven Blue Devils. I rock with him, but man, it could get ugly.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is they get to host Lakeland, which is a good thing. But the bad thing is Lakeland's really got some talent. But that's it. I just say just keep your watching every day. We put up new stuff every single day on Prep Red Zone Florida. It's Prep Red Zone FL. Go to the social media, same thing on our Twitter account or X account. I put out bunches of kids, with their, school and their tape and with their GPA.
And Larry's got a new Twitter. Larry has a new Twitter.
Yeah, I'm with Prep Red Zone Florida now.
There you go.
They stole all 90,000 people that I worked hard to get, but you know what? I can't complain. I can't complain. I feel good about where we're at, and where Prep Red Zone Florida is. I think in the network, they have on the Prep Red Zone Network and football. There's a lot of really good sites, and we're easily in the top 3 or 4 in the country. And we got a lot of followers. A lot of people read all of our stuff every day. And if you haven't seen it, just get over there because
don't let them have let us have 2 camps, right? There's 2 camps.
Yeah. Well, we had 2 camps last year. We had one in Miami.
You're right. I had to miss
one. Orlando. I just think that the best place to put it is where we had it last year in Orlando. It's centrally located, so we'll see. But, as time comes closer, Drew will get you on our radio show here. And that's another thing. Every Monday night, we're on 6 to 8 on WQAM radio in Miami. We've had Drew on a couple of times. We're going to get him on again, coming up in a couple of weeks to talk. And that's it. Yeah. I appreciate you inviting us on the rundown. I watch you guys and and I saw Hasani, and Hasani's class act dude, man.
He deserves
great guy. Always love seeing him. We over at the media day that day, he did a great job. With Alan Slaughter-Zinski from over on the Space Coast. And and I had an opportunity to take in that day. I was there for 3 straight days, so it was long days. But it gives us an opportunity to be at places, Drew. There's a lot of people in this state that don't do what we do. Boots on the ground. I heard you talking about Hasani. He is boots on the ground. But we're all over, especially during the off season. We went all the way from Pensacola to Florida State to Florida, USF, UCF, Miami, FAU,
all the way down.
We got it done, and and I appreciate you giving us a little bit of time here tonight, and thanks so much. And we'll definitely come back. Just let us know.
You guys can thank Larry for a Venice guest coming on next, right? You guys are gonna look for Jace Nixon. Be looking out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, shouts out to Jace, right? But I got Venice on my mind. I'm like, man, these guys might be. I got to get my eyes on them. But
they're legit. Really, they're legit.
They're
legit. I mean, they got a great high-powered offense, and ask them about the defense though. Because we're going to need it against IMG.
Almost 150 points scored on them or something like that. I don't know. It's some weird number, but man.
But they're a good team.
They're a powerhouse. You mentioned the Charles kid. They got the Winston Watkins kid come over from IMG. So I definitely want to hear from somebody from Venice, right? We'll get some Venice perspective.
Good.
But man, I've had to go on here for some time, Larry. We usually stay on for 40 minutes, right? I guess they're good, but these conversations usually go on a little bit longer. Thank you guys who are still tuned in. I know, these episodes are long, but I really think they provide value, right? I can have one guest on, but to bring 3 on and to have a guy like Hasani on to share his recruiting perspective and to have a GOAT like Larry on, right? Just to add his context in, I think you guys are getting real value. So please like and subscribe to the channel. We don't do this for the big bucks. I just do it for the exposure, and I really enjoy this, right? So make sure you guys are showing love to the content, and we'll do our part to keep bringing the fire content, right? So follow Larry at his new Twitter. You can find him at Prep Red Zone Florida on Twitter as well. He's on there every day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be back next week. Much love. Peace.